Hello everyone, in this week's video I'm going to be taking a look at the Tilta Mirage Matte Box. So to begin with, I'll just make it clear that I've purchased this matte box myself. I've paid a full price for it. This has not been supplied by anybody. So I should probably mention that this comes in 3 versions. You can buy one which just has the matte box itself, another one which is the one I've got here, which comes with the variable ND filter. And the third version is the motorized kit, so it comes with the motor to drive the variable ND as well as a controller. The one I've gone for is the VND version, so this comes with a variable ND. I've not gone for the motorized version, mainly because the only times the motor would really be useful for me is when I'm using it on a gimbal. And as you will see, I'm able to do that with the DJI focus motor, and I'll show you some examples of that in a bit. So inside, to begin with, you get 4 mounting rings that allow you to mount the matte box onto your lenses. So these come in 67, 72, 77 and 82. Now you can buy other sizes. If you've got different size lenses, then you can buy different adapters. So you also get a mount which can be fitted to the bottom of the matte box. This is for if you want to mount it onto rods beneath the camera. You do also get this little box which contains a mounting point for the focus motor. Okay, so moving on to the pouch. In here we've got the variable ND filter. As I say, I purchased the VND version of this. The pouch is really nice actually. You can get a few different filters in there, and I'm sure I'll be using it in the future once I get a few more from Vaxis to try out. And then we've got the matte box itself, and you can see that this comes with a top flag. Looks like it's carbon fiber. The adjuster on the top here does control the friction, and it fits with an Arri style connector, so you've got the 2 locking pins. So that's all really nicely made and works really well. It's extremely light, this. That's one of the great things about it. It's actually really well constructed. It's got a metal part on the back which is really sturdy, which enables you to clamp it on the lens. And you've also got a mechanism on the right side which locks in place the filter trays. The only downside to this is it does take 2 hands to take that out. So if you're holding your camera, it can be a little bit awkward. You kind of have to put it in your lap or something. Also on the front, we've got options to take rectangular filters, which can snap in using this clamp on the side. So in terms of the rest of the matte box, I think the design's really nice. One of the great things is it's modular, so you can undo these little snaps at the bottom and slide off the front part. Tilta make additional trays on here that can take more of these 95mm circular filter holders. So you can stack up a sort of 1 or 2 in front of here and then replace the front of the matte box in front. So this is the variable ND. As you can see, it's a very slimline design. It does have hard stops. I've been doing some tests with this, and in a moment I'll show you a few results and my thoughts on the way this works compared to my other variable ND, which is the Peter McKinnon version 2 from Polar Pro. So I'll go ahead and fit this to the matte box. It literally just drops in the slot here. Tilta have designed it so that there's no light leaks. It's a really nice tight seal between the filter tray and the matte box itself. So once it's fitted, then you can simply adjust the ND levels using the small wheel on the top here. Now Tilta do make an optional attachable knob that can fit on here. All of these things I'll link down in the description below. So yeah, have a look down there if you want to go and sort of find prices and stuff. In my testing, I found that with my 16 to 35 G Master on the FX3, I was getting a range from about 1 stop to about 7 stops. When I was on the wider lens, that was usable up to about 5 stops. And then there was too much cross-pattern polarization appearing, and you'll see in the examples which I'll pop up on the screen now. The top row is the Polar Pro, the Peter McKinnon Edition 2 Polar Pro, 2 to 5 stops. So that shows that even that one struggles a little bit. But when you see the Tilta underneath, so obviously it's got the 1 stop, which the Polar Pro doesn't have. But then by the time it's at 5 stops, I think the Tilta is a little bit more visible in the cross pattern. But certainly at 6 and 7 stops, you'll see that it's very visible. 16mm is a lot to ask of any VND, so here's the same test with the 16 to 35 at 35mm. In this test, both filters are very close at 5 stops with similar results, and the Tilta is only starting to show slight cross pattern once it gets to 7 stops. This final test is checking the filters for color shift. The top result was without a filter, and I used that to set the white balance. And then the Polar Pro did a great job, and you can see that didn't really affect the color balance at all. However, the Tilta does show a reduction in the blue channel, which produces a slightly warmer result. At 16mm on the G Master lens, you could start to see the edge of the matte box, so you do see some vignetting, and that's not with the outer part of the matte box itself, it's with the inner part, so you can't remove anything to get rid of that. But once you were up to 18mm, you couldn't see it anymore, so maybe something to bear in mind if you're looking to get this for use with that lens. So one thing I did miss with this compared to the Polar Pro is with the Polar Pro you can obviously look and see what your setting is, so you can look to see if you've got 2 stops or 5 stops of ND. With this, you obviously don't get that at all. You've got no indication of what the current setting is other than, seeing the effect. Okay, so next up, I'm going to set this up on my Ronin-S. So you just have to fit the adapter, which is included in the kit, and then you can literally fit the DJI focus motor directly onto that, and it does work, and it controls the variable ND. Having the ability to control your ND on the fly when on a gimbal is actually really nice if you're outside working in changeable conditions. So to sum up, I think this is a great matte box. I think Tilta have done a fantastic job. The actual matte box itself feels premium. The metal parts, carbon top flag, it just feels like a great product. They've done a really good job of making it sealed from the light, and this being modular, being able to add more filters and stack them and still use rectangular filters in the front if you need to. I think it's a really good choice. I'm definitely going to be hanging on to mine. I can see me getting quite a lot of use out of this, especially once I get hold of some more Vaxis filters. If you have any questions, then please just leave a comment. Please subscribe if you want to see more reviews in the future, and I look forward to seeing you next time.